Now, as the BJP sweeps in 3 Hindi Heartland states today, a high point for the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party was the reception for Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the party headquarters in New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi arrived at the BJP headquarters to massive applause from party workers from across the country. The Prime Minister has lauded the contribution of party workers in the victories and hailed what he called the love of people from all quarters that has enabled the party to come to power in 2 additional states. The BJP snatched Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan from the rival camp Congress and overcame anti-incumbency to win in Chhattisgarh. The Prime Minister said that today's victory potentially sets the stage for the BJP's return to power in 2024 for a 3rd term.
कि आज की इस हैट्रिक ने 24 की हैट्रिक की गारंटी दे दी है।
Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Dilip Cherian from New Delhi. He is a political campaign advisor. Welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Cherian.
Thank you.
Now, as you just heard yourself, the Indian Prime Minister says that this is kind of a testimony of what is going to play out in 2024. How are you assessing this?
I like his play of words. He linked the hat-trick in the state elections, which have just concluded, to a hat-trick if he is able to pull off elections 2024, which he looks poised to. At the moment, the Prime Minister is probably heading towards a peaking of his popularity because he's been able to actually single-handedly, in many senses, win the state of Chhattisgarh, which is critically important from a minerals and from a tribal's point of view. So, being able to show that several terms does not induce any sense of complacency or anti-incumbency in Madhya Pradesh, which is another of the states which the BJP has won in. So he has sent 3 messages. No anti-incumbency by winning the state of Madhya Pradesh, being able to go there and snatch a state by winning the state of Chhattisgarh, and being able to win against a very well-entrenched chief minister, which is in Rajasthan. So 3 messages, 3 audiences. He talks about the women audience in his speech to the party workers at his party headquarters. And that was the big message that came out of Madhya Pradesh. Tribals is the message which came out of Chhattisgarh. And I think that he's been able to set the stage for 2024 with this victory.
Right. Mr. Cherian, stay with me. The Indian Prime Minister also hit out at the Congress party for its caste politics, saying that he only believes in the fact that people of all backward sections need development. If he could just play out that bite before we go back to Mr. Cherian.
इस चुनाव में देश को जातियों में बांटने की बहुत कोशिशें हुई, लेकिन मैं लगातार कह रहा था कि मेरे लिए देश में 4 जातियां ही सबसे बड़ी जातियां हैं। और जब मैं इन 4 जातियों की बात करता हूं, हमारी नारी शक्ति, हमारी युवा शक्ति, हमारे किसान और हमारे गरीब परिवार, इन 4 जातियों को सशक्त करने से ही देश सशक्त होने वाला है।
All right, Mr. Cherian, I have 2 questions from you. One, do you think Congress made the entire caste politics their center issue, and do you think that was a mistake? And 2, I want to ask you, do you think Prime Minister Modi is, in a way, reconceptualizing caste, trying to pose it as a caste of development?
I think that you're right on both counts. Did the Congress make caste an issue? And was that a mistake? The answer is yes, they did, and it was a mistake. The reason is that we are a very young country. And young people today, when they're looking for jobs, are no longer looking for caste-based jobs. They don't want the jobs which used to be available 25 years ago on account of reservation, which was related to their caste. Those are not the jobs for new young India. So it doesn't hold the kind of resonance that, the Congress party thought it would. It was worth testing it out. They've tested it out. They need to back off from it very quickly. Is the Prime Minister creating new castes? Most certainly. And these are castes that he's creating to ensure that the ability to try and split up the mega Hindu vote, which is already in his kitty, does not happen. It is critical for the Prime Minister and for the BJP to make sure that that mass of votes remains totally united. And that is the secret for 2024. That is the sauce they're preparing. So nothing that comes in the way of that kind of divisibility of the large mass of the electorate will be allowed by the Prime Minister, and they certainly will attack it viciously.
Right, Mr. Cherian, you have a very interesting way of decoding BJP's strategy. Now, the Indian Prime Minister also attacked Congress for what he called dynastic politics. Before I come back to you, Mr. Cherian, can we please play that for our viewers?
आज के जनादेश ने ये भी साबित किया है कि भ्रष्टाचार, तुष्टीकरण और परिवारवाद को लेकर देश के भीतर, देश के हर नागरिक के दिल में जीरो टॉलरेंस बन रही है.
Mr. Cherian, the reason I want to speak about this dynasty politics is because the results that came in today also reflects how voters seem to be rejecting it. We saw that in Telangana as well, with the BRS losing. We saw Congress losing out in the Hindi Heartland, of course. How are you assessing this?
I think that this election was actually a little less about dynastic politics, because to be fair, the Congress's dynasty in power did not play the kind of major visible role in the state elections that used to happen before. Yes, they were in the front. They were doing what is needed, mainly drawing the large crowds that they still are able to. But dynastic politics, honestly, is now no longer confined to any one party. All the parties in the game today have dynastic tendencies, and no party is innocent of this underly democratic kind of norm. So I would say that dynastic politics is something, it's a code in many senses for the BJP, for the party in general, and for the Prime Minister in particular, to attack the Gandhis. This ability of the Prime Minister to not actually bring in names and to attack concepts is smart. I think that parties have learned that direct frontal attacks are no longer something that their constituents are either amused or enthused by. So that's the reason why he's used the code word of dynastic politics to attack the Gandhis.
Right. Mr. Cherian, before I let you go, I want to quickly speak about the women voters here. We heard the Indian Prime Minister also thanking specifically the women voters and coming out. And this is something we are seeing as an emerging trend where the women voters seem to be supporting the BJP. A, how do you assess that? And B, do you think that it's going to continue for next year's general election as well?
She's going to get more and more important. She not only votes and votes on her own, but also she tends to influence many votes at home. She is the Indian woman voter. So I think that this is only the beginning of the thrust, and the Congress has, in a sense, not been able to counter this because of a tendency of any grand old party to be more patriarchal than they need to be. They have women leaders, they need to bring them forward, and at the moment, the advantage seems to be with the BJP, even though the BJP at this point of time does not have a single woman chief minister in its ranks, and the India Alliance probably has more women in positions of real power.
You make an interesting point there, Mr. Cherry, and thank you so much for joining us here on this broadcast. And as always, it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much.